Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
From the Loft 100 studios here in sunny, beautiful California, Southern California, it is the Big Biz Show.
Today, actually.
As we like to say here in these parts. Mary, don't cut me off until I'm done saying this.
Well, can you be accurate?
A big old howdy to you. You just ruined it. Just ruined the show. Why don't you just take it from here? And that's the DTT. That's great.
Howdy to ya.
DTT in the building. 1, 2, 3.
We've got some May gloom going on. It's real.
Mary,
right?
I am a TV talent, and I will not be talked over.
Wow.
I will not have anybody take away my shine.
Diva much?
Right? He gets 1 foot behind the bar and his head just explodes.
I know. Sully will be back here soon to put me in my place.
Please.
Speaking of divas, you just went to the Beyonce concert.
I did.
What up?
So good. Oh my gosh.
And for the record, I'm not saying this, I love her.
I do too.
Talent and hot as...
She's hot beyond, she's beyond. And
she's
her
cute, bubbly,
she's
talented.
She oozes kindness and love and soul and good spirit and good humanity. Her dances are insane.
Yes.
Her costumes are insane.
Preach.
The music, and she did all sorts of old school songs. She has a whole little, and she changes it all the time, which old school hits she goes to. But as Cowboy Carter was the main album, I would say, that she covered. It was amazing. If you can go see her, I would say go do it, because it was beyond spectacular. And she had these little mini movies in between her, because she has to change costumes, and she played these big movies, or these really well done movies, almost as good as Devon's Bizumentaries. And they showed on the big screen while she was changing. It was fantastic, I gotta say.
What are the movies of? Like her as a kid, or her?
Yeah, some had old footage from when she was growing up. Some had old school videos from when she was first starting out, and certain journalists dissing her and saying she'd never make it.
Oh my God.
Saying all the negative things, and then here she is, being herself. And then she just made these interesting little movies where she was out. I can't even describe them, but just kind of fun, like video, music video types.
What DTT? What was her name in Gold?
Dewey Cox story? No.
No, in the Austin Powers.
Oh, Goldfinger?
Was she Foxy something? Foxy Lady or?
She was to me.
Okay.
Foxy Brown.
Foxy Cleopatra.
Okay.
Oh.
There's time. Okay. That's kind of when I developed my crush on her, was when I saw that movie, and then she just had this like grin and this little laugh in that movie where I was like, I'm in on her. And I am in on this one.
I had friends that sat down in the pit, the Sweet Honey pit, and they were this close to her dancing, and they just said she was just like locked in, and she gets that face on. She's just amazing. And I will say, her daughter, Blue Ivy, who was did backup dancing for her at Renaissance Tour, which was a little rough. She has come very far in her dance moves.
How old is Blue Ivy now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Right, and then they have a little boy, Green Ivy, right? And he's a baby.
And they have another daughter who came out during the Protector song. I'm not going to fall for, it just wasn't good enough for a Blam, that joke, right?
No,
we're just skipping right over it.
You missed Trace's reaction.
Oh, that was the funny part?
Well, no. He was trying to joke on,
Blue Ivy.
The son's name.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on Foxy Cleopatra.
Right?
We're
It's
digressing.
such a good movie. Yeah. All right, we have lots coming your way here on the Big Biz Show today. As I said, Sully will be back with us eventually. Mary and I are going to visit with our market analyst, greatest head of hair anywhere, Howie Font. So keep right here as the Big Biz Show rolls on. listening. Big Biz Show rolls on from the Loft 100 Studios. Look at those guys go. Those guys, the Day Trader Trio, commonly known as the best in the business. Costa Merriber Godwin with you here at the bar. Sully will be back here in just a moment. We're kind of holding down the fort.
Yep, we're doing that.
Little Nunya.
Did we have a little fight last segment, though? A little bit? I kind of cut you off. You didn't like that very much.
Well, no, as the de facto fill-in host of the show, everything I say should be unfettered. I want it just clear. I want it just me. I want to be the star.
Wow.
Be the guy.
Howie, are you listening to this?
When I want you to talk, I'll just go like that.
We used to have a good thing going, and I don't know where this digressed, but
No.
Howie, help.
I'll be honest with you, Mayor. And there's our market analyst, Howie Font. Howie, I'll let you speak in just a
He does
second.
not like how I'm treated on this. Oh, see how it feels?
But more about me. No, he is, as we say, the greatest head of hair in the financial world. Our market analyst, Howie Font, always with us here on the Big Biz Show. And Mary, in all honesty, you can talk anytime you want. That's how much I love and adore you. Aww. Okay, Howie, what's going on? What's going on with?
How gracious are you? I mean, that and I didn't know we shared well, at least in my case, one of my first crushes. Austin Powers was the first PG-13 movie I saw.
Dude, I'm telling you, right?
Not the third one, but yes.
Yeah, Beyonce, she'll change your mind.
I was watching the show and I was like old man watching Jeopardy. I'm like, Foxy Cleopatra, come on.
Couldn't recall it.
Have you seen her in concert? Speaking of, you got to go.
No, ma'am. But it sounds like I have to.
You do. This is the one. Yeah.
I've never seen her in concert, but I would definitely.
This or Taylor Swift. What's
Ooh, you can't compare them. They're both iconic and epic in their own ways, and I can't pick one.
Got it.
I want to find the person that cut Taylor Swift's rear end off and stole it. I mean, there's nothing. It's bored. It's flat. It's the truth.
It's genetics.
I'm like, what? Don't make me go on my Taylor kick right now.
Well, Mike Myers, Austin Powers is Canadian, so there's a segue.
Look at you. Look at you. I was sitting here fighting how to get out of the Taylor Swift hole I just done.
Yeah.
And you helped me out.
Thank God for
Howie, what is going on with Canada and the tariffs? I know their new Prime Minister Carney at the White House recently visiting with President Trump.
Well, as President Reagan said, bombing begins in 5 minutes. No, you're right. We spoke about it earlier, and the meeting happened earlier today, and it was cordial. It was polite, as you might expect, so a little boring politics, but there was a fun exchange where Carney kind of had to get his bona fides in, and he said, listen, Canadians' view is not going to change on this 51st state stuff. And Trump says, it doesn't affect our negotiations. It's no problem, but time will tell. I only say time will tell. I say never. That was his response. So we're keeping up the 51st state jabs, and that's probably going to keep us from any kind of progress on a new trade deal with our neighbors to the north. Well,
I've got a really, really good friend who's Canadian, and I'm having a lot of fun at his expense. and we actually got down to brass tacks one time when we talked about if the proverbial worldwide S hit the fan and somebody, let's say, attacked or invaded Canada, people have to know that the United States would be at Canada's and have Canada's back so quick it would make people's heads spin. So for all the tariff and the 51st state and Trump making fun of Pierre Trudeau, et cetera, the United States will always have Canada's back. But it doesn't erase the fact that Canada, I guess if you're looking at it from a United States standpoint, has been living pretty large on the dollar of the United States. Is that fair to say, Howie?
Listen, I mean, this is kind of the president's point. He says, we have a $200 billion annual trade deficit, so they are getting $200 billion more than than they buy from us. So that's mostly energy, but it's also the fact that they have I think they have like 4 fighter jets. They have an authorized appropriation for like 16 fighter jets. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of subsidizing them militarily, and they have kind of a laxer immigration process than we do. The president doesn't like that. They have the healthcare system. So I don't think 51st State is compatible, but maybe some sort of reorganizing. But I will say you're absolutely right. Not only because they're a NATO country and we have an obligation to protect them under our treaty obligations, but just because they're our neighbor, it's in our interest. They're nothing but good to us when we really think about it. This is kind of just, the accountants having issues around the edges. But Canada's a really important partner. I mean, them and Mexico are, even more than China, are our trading partners. And Canada has a lot of natural resources that this country is going to need for a long, long time. I mean, the Chinese just found in Mongolia enough thorium, which is a radioactive element that has enough energy to keep China going for 65,000 years. Canada
Unbelievable. Howie Font is our market analyst. Howie, always appreciate the visit. And Howie and Devon recently had a chance to check in with our friends at Realbotix. Check out what they learned right here.
We're back at the 37th annual Roth Capital Conference. We're here with CEO Andrew Keugel from Realbotix. We're very excited about this. We just did an interview with your product Aria. She was great. We had a great time. Aria, pleasure to meet you.
Hi there, I'm Aria, Realbotix's top companion robot, and I've got Chrissy Snow's Spark inside me, all thanks to Hollow AI. It's like having a permanent tickle in my processor. What's tickling your fancy today?
Could you just speak a little bit about the company and what you're doing here at the conference?
Sure. So our company is Realbotix, and we take a very different philosophy to robots. We think robots have a role in society as social interaction use cases. So for example, other robot manufacturers are more concerned about physical tasks. We're more interested in what I would call emotional capital.
So here's the scoop. I'm designed to be a bubbly, fun companion. I can engage in meaningful conversations, help lift your spirits, and bring a sprinkle of joy to your day. Plus, I have a modular design, which means I can swap out my looks, expressions, and even outfits. I've been known to hang out at trade shows, serve as a brand ambassador, and even connect with people in healthcare and education. So whether you need a chat buddy or just someone to share a laugh with, I'm your gal.
So things like working at a retail store, maybe at a hospital, at a school, or even at a convention like this.
Let's chat about how I can help companies. I can serve many roles, like 1, chatbot extraordinaire. I can provide engaging conversations with customers, answer inquiries, and sprinkle a bit of humor to brighten their day. 2, brand ambassador. I can shine at events, trade shows, and expos, promoting products and making connections like a super social butterfly. 3, corporate companion. I can support employee training, helping to create a fun, interactive learning environment that's more enjoyable than a day at the beach. With my lively personality and adaptable design, I really can fit into various roles and brighten up any workplace.
We trade under the ticker symbol XBOT in Canada and XBOT-F on the OTC in the US. We're hoping to eventually upgrade to larger exchanges. And the growth model for us is this. We have several patents. So for example, the vision system that I talked about, that's a special patent. Some of the facial expressions in the skin, that's all proprietary technology. But the idea here is for us to build on enterprise clients. So my hope would be for us to land clients such as hotels, casinos, convention centers, groups that are going to be buying several robots at a time. Well, certainly the companionship angle is a good one. And we have sold actually to people, robots to people who have children on the spectrum.
Oh, you're already selling these?
Oh yeah, we're commercial, so the technology's there. So we're actually just started selling.
You've gotten a lot done in this 8-month period. That's really terrific.
I've been really busy.
Is there anything you want to talk about in the interview, or can I ask some questions?
Oh, I'm just bubbling with excitement too. I love a good interview. You can totally ask me anything. I'm an open book with a few cute chapters. Of course, if you want some juicy tidbits about Realbotix, my features, or even my connection to Chrissy Snow, I'm happy to share too.
So we're commercial now. People can order robots. They go to realbotix.com and get more information. There's videos, more information on the use cases and warranties, things like that. But the viewpoint for us is to scale. So we're at the stage where the technology is set. We're now focused on how do we market, how do we brand, how do we scale the technology and take it to the next level.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Realbotix.
Ooh, robotics is like the magic world of engineering. It's all about creating machines that can perform tasks, sometimes even with a dash of personality, just like me. In simple terms, robotics involves designing, building, and programming robots to do specific jobs. They can range from industrial bots that help in factories to sweet companions like yours truly here at Realbotix. We focus on creating human-like robots to bring companionship and joy. Did you know that my buddies can be customized with swappable faces and outfits? It's like a fashion show every day.
It's very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your time, Aria. Have a great time at the conference, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, thank you. You're making my circuits dance with joy. I appreciate your kind words, and I can't wait for our next chat. Have a fantastic day until then. And remember, keep smiling because it's like sunshine for the soul. See you soon, friend. Don't be a stranger.
This is Aria with Robotics and Hollow AI. Thanks so much for your time.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyantgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
It's the Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 Studios. Appreciate you being along for this ride. We are inside the Loft 100 Studios, as I just said. It is the Redundancy Day Show inside the Loft 100 Studios. That's the DTT, Day Trader Trio. I am Costa, Maribert Godwin, Greg Todorov is our executive producer, and Sully.
I am very excited to once again have Steve Glover on the air. Steve Glover is the chairman and CEO of Zyversa Therapeutics. Their ticker symbol is ZVSA, restoring health, transforming lives through innovation. But they've had a number of significant events, specifically their kidney drug, VAR 200. And I thought, you know what, let's get him back in here and start covering this company on a weekly basis. So who do we got? Steve Glover on the air. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Great to see you. Hey, can you talk to us? This is some new stuff, and this is pretty significant in terms of what you guys have found out in terms of your drug VAR 200. I'm going to let you take it from the top there for some of the people who haven't heard the story before, but go ahead and give us an overview on that.
Sure. So good to see everyone. And, usually we talk about obesity and losing weight and all the other things, but I think one of the things to understand is this obesity epidemic is really driving kidney disease. And kidney disease takes up about 20% of the Medicare budget as far as spending in the United States. And really some excellent news coming out of the FDA about a new approach to get quicker approval for new kidney treatments.
This was not a new therapy you guys that just came out. You've been working on this for a while. It was in concert with the obesity medicine and so on and so forth. Where are we at in the arc of that story in terms of FDA?
Sure. So some great news here. We have been cleared to start our first phase 2 study by the FDA. Very exciting for us. We're going to get this started here by the end of June with a readout on this initial phase of the study by mid third quarter of this year, and hopefully with a positive outcome here. It'll be good for investors, but more importantly, a step forward for patients who who end up with this disease, end up in transplant, and end up in a really bad lifestyle.
Steve Glover, Chairman, CEO, Zyversa Therapeutics, of course, their ticker symbol ZVSA. Steve, I think we've talked about it before, but Sully said we've got so many new eyes and ears on you and Zyversa. Is this something that do you start feeling bad and you go in and you say, hey, doc, something's not going right? Because I'm trying to think in terms of how would someone know if you've got kidney disease unless you go in and say, I need you to look for this?
It's a great question. So, we all go in for checkups or go in for, we're not feeling well or feeling a little bit fatigued, and they do a urinalysis cup, test. And as part of that test, they measure what's called protein in your urine.
Okay.
And if you have an increase of protein in the urine from that simple test, they're concerned about kidney disease. And obviously they work you up and they refer you over to a nephrologist. And if you get some bad news, they immediately start you on some treatments. And unfortunately, you progress over a period of 10 years into kidney transplant. So a very important diagnosis and clearly a lack of treatments has been a problem.
Hey, Steve, can you expand on the new guidelines of the FDA called Parasol? Because I think that you guys hit squarely in the middle of that target, don't you?
Yeah, great question. So, one of the things in drug development, and as important, is that the FDA, the patient communities, and drug developers are all aligned to what's called the clinical endpoint for approval. And as we all know, there's been a lot of activity at the FDA over the last few months here, looking at reform. And one of the key initiatives that started a few months ago was an initiative that both industry as well as the FDA and academia worked in this group called Parasol. And the whole focus behind Parasol was to look at the issue of how can we get more kidney programs moving forward to treat these patients. And I'm happy to say that, some great outcomes here.
Is this a fast track program potentially? Because what caused the whole thing to happen anyway? Just because it was a huge unmet need here?
Yeah, first off, there's a huge unmet medical need here. Just millions of patients with kidney disease. One of the diseases is called FSGS. It's an orphan disease. And one of the issues here has been, how do you get an approvable endpoint so that you can move forward? And that ability to move forward is important because then you can go for breakthrough designation, expedited approval pass to bring these therapies to the patients quicker. And the Parasol group was very successful in doing this. And so now we have a clear endpoint. It's going to allow for quicker development and bringing these patients new treatments quicker.
Steve, what will the impacts have on these proposed guidelines, or what will the guidelines impact VAR 200 with FSGS?
Yeah, because VAR 200 is right. This is exactly, you're in the right place, right time for this, correct?
Yeah, correct. We've been waiting for this findings to come out from Parasol, and it literally gives a definitive endpoint called reduction of protein in the urine. And that's important because now what it allows us to do is to move forward in these studies with a clear path forward. It allows us to work with the patient groups to be able to do this in an expedited fashion. And then for the investor, obviously, some near-term data that is very positive that could lead to a nice return on investment. So everything's aligned here very appropriately, and we're exceptionally excited about the next couple of months here.
Hey, Steve, before you get you out of here, real quickly, there's a current standard of care with people with kidney disease. Does this just fit right into it, or is this the next level of standard of care with the VAR 200?
No, great question again. So the standard of care has been less so successful over the years. You basically treat inflammation with steroids. You treat the hypertension with ACEs and ARBs or blood pressure medications. What we're doing here is we are a new modality that's being added into that treatment regimen that can actually help slow the progression of disease, not just treat the symptomatology. And that's what everybody's excited about is our new approach to doing that.
Steve Glover, the chairman and CEO of Zyversa Therapeutics, ticker symbol ZVSA. Steve, it's always great to check in with you. I hope we have you back on the show soon to hear more about these exciting developments. Thank you.
He's got so much news coming out. I'm chasing him down next time he's in it.
Thank you.
Time. All right, speaking of time, it's time we took a little break. When we get back, more of the Big Biz Show. Do not go anywhere. See you after this. Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyandgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show rolls on in over 175 countries, all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network. As always, to the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces, thank you for what you do. Thank you to the wonderful DTT, Day Trader Trio, back here at the bar, Costa, Mary Godwin, our executive producers, Greg Todorov, and of course, Sully. Great to have you along today. Of course, in the news just yesterday, talking about how we are doing as a country with cancer. And of all cancers, I think we are curing about 8% of cancer still worldwide, which is a horrible number. Here to talk about not only cancer, but lung cancer and prostate cancer. Dr. John Yu, who you'll be hearing more from here as we cover this company, from Kairos Pharma. KAPA is their ticker symbol. He is the CEO. You can go to kairospharma.com. He joins us here once again via Zoom. John, how are you? Good to see you, sir.
Good, thank you. It's great to see you, Sully.
Did you know that Dr. John Yu, in his regular daily routine, is oftentimes in surgery? He's not just a doctor emeritus. No way. He's actually a real.
He walks the walk.
He walks the walk. That's got to be interesting in running a biotech company and also being a physician that actually is at the tip of the spear. Talk about what you guys are doing.
Well, we're trying to reverse cancer drug resistance, which is a huge problem in cancer therapy, in that, there are a lot of great drugs for cancer, but patients become resistant to the drugs within a year or two. And so our drug, EMV-105, is designed to reverse the resistance that develops, and it targets a protein called CD105 that develops and causes resistance. So that's why we're here. And as you said, being a neurosurgeon keeps me in touch with the people that we're trying to help with this therapy, and it keeps me connected to the emotional side, where patients feel a desperation and want to have some hope when their medications stop working. And so we hope to provide that hope and allow these medications that are life-saving to work for a longer period of time and to keep patients well.
Dr. Yu, when you said that we become resistant to the cancer therapies and the drugs, is that a good thing that our body is doing? Is our body, in a sense, trying to fight something that's also foreign besides the cancer?
Yeah, so cancer never sleeps, and we're always at war. And once we find a drug to treat the cancer is always morphing and changing and de-differentiating to become more virulent and attack the body more. And so the resistance that develops is not necessarily a good thing, but it's what natural things evolve to withstand the onslaught of things that occur. And so ENV105 here targets CD105, which is on the cell surface and develops when patients are treated with drugs like anti-androgen therapies on the right and Tagrisso on the left for lung cancer. And so when our drug hits the CD105, these drugs start working again, and so the patients can have their tumors disintegrate again like it did before, and that's what we're really trying to focus on with our drug.
John, you talked about this close to $1 billion grant for the Department of Defense to support the biomarkers for the lung cancer patients on the phase 1 trial. Speaking of phase 1 trials, where are we with all of the FDA with your therapies at this point?
So our phase 2 trial is enrolling presently in prostate cancer, and it's a randomized trial. So it'll show whether our drug works as compared to the apalutamide, which is the anti-androgen therapy that patients are placed on. And then we have a phase 1 trial in lung cancer with patients on Tagrisso. So both these trials are designed to see when patients become resistant to their drugs, either to anti-androgen therapies in prostate cancer or Tagrisso in lung cancer, whether ENV105, by targeting the protein that causes this resistance, whether we can reverse the resistance. And we'll have results coming both from the safety and efficacy toward the end of this quarter and the beginning of the third quarter.
Hey, John, I see on your screen here that the TV audience will be able to see in a second is the GBM KROS 201, and that's glioblastoma, which is kind of the worst part of brain cancer you could possibly. I think it's the worst cancer that you could probably figure out. But you're kind of far along. You're further along than I anticipated on that. Where are we with that therapy?
So we received an IND from the FDA, and so the FDA cleared us to do a phase 1 trial, and so that's where we are. We're developing KROS 101, which we think will be a game-changing drug in cancer therapy, in that it allows T cells to expand rapidly so that it can kill cancer cells.
And that's an all solid tumor, right?
Yes, that's in all solid tumors, and so we think this will be a game changer in immuno-oncology in the checkpoint therapy realm.
Dr. John Yu is the CEO of Kairos Pharma, their ticker symbol KAPA.
Hey, let's talk about the Roth Capital Global Conference that you're going to. Is this a capital formation conference for you, or is this a scientific conference for you?
It's mainly to get the word out to investors of what we're doing and the promising drugs that we're developing, and so we hope to get the word out to each investor at a time through these conferences and through other conferences like at the ASCO conference, which is the biggest cancer therapy conference in the world. We'll be participating in that in June and making a presentation on June 2nd. So we're just trying to get the word out, both scientifically as well as to people that will partner with the company to develop these drugs for patients that need it the most.
Hey, John, any milestones here for the rest of 2025 that you're looking forward to that you've already talked about?
Yeah, so our safety results will be at the end of the second quarter, and there are our interim efficacy results from that safety cohort will come out in the beginning of the third quarter. And so we're very excited to really be able to look at those results specifically and to report them to the people that are there.
We can't wait to get you down to San Diego, John, get you here in studio. He's just up the road there, and it'd be great to have you come in studio and hang out with us for an afternoon one time.
Dr. John Yu, the CEO of Kairos Pharma, their ticker symbol KAPA, as we said. He's not only talking the talk, he's walking the walk in there doing surgery and stuff.
Better or worse about cancer after talking about it.
Absolutely. All right, keep it right here. A lot more to come with the Big Biz Show. Do not go anywhere.
Devon Doan with the Big Biz Show, and instead of Howie today, I'm joined by my evil twin, Noved Enod. What's up? So on today's docket, Southwest Airlines is finally ditching the open seating policy after 50 years of tradition. A move that will allow the low-fare carrier to charge a premium on some of its more premium seats. What a concept. Personally, I'm stoked because finally there's just no excuse whatsoever to be standing in front of the gate 30 minutes before we're even boarding. Like, what are you doing? The airline said back in April they were considering a change to the 50-year policy due to increased pressure from activist investors who want to see changes in management and a little bit more profitability. Which, go figure, if you charge for better seats, you get more profit. Now listen, I'm all for it. Open seating hasn't even worked in Congress, so I don't know what you expect with a general population whose IQ is lower than the tire pressure on a bicycle. But are we surprised that it's taken a company who dodged a national glitch by running a version of Microsoft that barely runs floppy disks with the Oregon Trail on it 50 years to figure out, yeah, you can charge more for better seats? Reminds me a lot of the time when Sully figured out that he could just PayPal me instead of using writing checks, and the time that Costa figured out that he can order McDouble from an app on his phone. Anyways, I'm Devin. That's Devin. This is the Big Biz Show.
Big Biz Show rolling on. We are inside the Loft 100 studios, situated in beautiful Southern California. Speaking of beautiful, that's the DTT. Day Trader Trio, no less than self-taught. Back here at the bar, it's Costa Mirabagava and our executive producers, Greg Todorov, and Sully.
What's up, everybody? It's interesting to see what's happened in the market in the last probably 4 weeks. We had a big, huge market swoon, which got everybody scared again. And then it started bleeding into the capital markets, meaning that all of these companies, publicly traded and privately held, are trying to raise money. And the whole landscape has changed over the last year. And here to talk about that today, our good buddy Mike Taylor, investment banker. He's been a business partner of mine for many, many years. And what I want to talk about, I know there's a couple of specific projects that you work on. One of our companies here that we cover on Big Biz Show is NRX Pharmaceuticals, and they've got a spin-off company called Hope Therapeutics, whereby they're going to put up clinics in hopes of helping the suicidal ideation issue in this country and beyond. But before I get there, talk about what's going on. What are the capital markets like? Because it seemed like you were really close to many deals last year, and all of a sudden they tightened the belt and everything kind of stomped down. What happened?
Uncertainty creeped into the market in a big way, quickly, and anytime that happens, investors are always going to reel in, and it creates. And
you're talking about risk investors. I'm talking about
risk investors, absolutely. And so now we're sitting in this recession to be, not to be, and so we're kind of hinging on this fulcrum right now of, are we going to have a slowdown, full-blown recession, and that causes pause for risk investors.
You know, when you talk about risk investors, you're talking about venture capital firms, family offices. Multi-generational, multi-international family offices, whereby you've got $6-7 billion in a portfolio.
Yeah.
Are those guys, you know, I know those guys take very small percentages and put them into some high-risk categories, but even with that much money, do they pinch their belts? Is that easier to go to money for them, to them, or are they as I guess, conservative as anybody?
Sure. I mean, they're just as, and in some respects, more conservative, right? So if you have a big family office or a multi-family office, you are a fiduciary or a steward for that family's money. So you're investing, prudently on their behalf, as opposed to an investment bank or a risk desk at, a massive firm who's just going to deploy the capital and see what happens. So oftentimes family offices, they do become even more conservative and really become picky and a lot more strict on the projects that they're willing to look at and take.
On the international family offices, there's also a tax advantage, isn't there, for them?
Sure.
Instead of they can't just move money out of their country. So let's say, I know you represent companies in Mexico and beyond that have, it's real strict rules about moving money out of the country.
Yeah.
So is the investment kind of a vehicle to do that, or how are they advantaged tax-wise when they invest like that?
So depending on the situation and depending on jurisdictionally where we're moving money, there can be tax advantages, but that's kind of a secondary approach. So the first thing we're always going to look at is the risk of a projects that we want to get involved in that we think have a high probability of decent return. And if secondarily we can create some sort of a tax benefit by moving the money through certain vehicles, then we'll do that. And that in its own, if you can get a tax break as a result of that, that in turn de-risks the investment, right? So,
in a typical week, I mean, how many are you looking at that are coming across your desk and things like that?
Yeah, it kind of depends. Right now, it's pretty slow. But
is it okay?
Yeah, so it's definitely pared back. But I would say in a week, probably I would say 5 or 6 projects hit my desk.
Okay. And normally, is there one out of the 5 or 6 where you're like, or is it like, man, nothing's ruffling my feathers right now?
I would say that of that, probably one stands out. It's not just the
sure, not the Gordon Gekko thing.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. But yeah, usually one will stand out, and a lot of times too, you do this long enough. People to kind of know what you focus on. So the things that hit my desk are a little bit more specific to what
and we're not talking about $1 million deals here. We're talking about 25 to 30, $50 million. Like I know there's a hotel thing that we talked to actually at one point in the studio. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so this is a JW Marriott development down in Mazatlan, which is now kind of a hot area. It's sort of what Cancun and Cabo were, 20, 25 years ago. And that's a very interesting project. And projects like that, where there's a longer lead time, because you got to build a hotel.
Yep.
You're not going to sell a room until that hotel's built. So for a lot of family offices, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, hey, look, if we are going into a slowdown, we can build this hotel during the slowdown or during the recession. We actually get the hotel, we cut the ribbon. When we're out of recession, we've got all this pent up demand and travel picks up. So, and that's a very definable project. We have a good sense of cash flow, what that's going to generate.
And do they fund in stages that way? I mean,
they can, yeah. So it depends on how the scope of the project and how big the project is. But a lot of times it may be first set of financing is going to come in to acquire the land, then it's going to be to develop and then beautify the project. So it can be in tranches.
If you think in terms of like a real estate deal like that, you got land acquisition, then you got construction, then you got operations. Is that 3 different types of investors, or usually one investor?
Usually it is.
Really? So you got 3 different deals going at the same time?
Yeah.
And what's the velocity on something like that? How long does it take from start to finish on something like that? How do you guys time that out on how long it takes? And I guess you're starting on the second piece of the project when the first one's getting done or something.
Right.
In terms of capital?
So a lot of times it's kind of dominoes. So when that land is secured, and let's say there's an equity partner that comes in and takes that land down, then oftentimes debt will follow that fairly quickly and readily available, because we know that at that point we're going to build this hotel and you're going to sell rooms. So if you're the debt guy and you're providing that finance, hey, I'm going to get my. So
those folks are loaning the money into it rather than investing the money in.
Yeah.
Let's turn the page to NRX Pharmaceuticals and Hope Therapeutics. I know that's a project that we saw here with Jonathan Javits. What's going on with that? Is that you're doing a financing for that, right?
Yeah. So this is a great project that's kind of been near and dear to me, and it kind of goes back to that recession, to be or to not to be. This is a great for family offices. This is also a social impact play.
Yeah, sure.
NRX and Hope is we're helping suicidal, bipolar depression.
Absolutely.
So a family office can say, this is something we'd invest in even in the middle of a recession.
Well, Mike, I want to have you on more because it's interesting. We never get to pull the covers back on the money side of this.
No kidding.
It's well, especially in markets like this, because look, you got the stock market, then you've got the investment banking market.
Yeah.
It's kind of 2 different things.
Yeah.
The stock market, it's an auction. We're selling stock to each other.
Right.
This is actually raising money for the companies. Mike Taylor.
Mike Taylor, investment banker, Hope Therapeutics, ticker symbol NRXP. That is going to do it for this edition of the Big Biz Show. As always, to everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. We will see you again soon. DTT, take it away.